the king made a big announcement. "Whoever tells me which animal skin this is, I will marry my daughter to him." First a man came. He looked at the skin carefully, then pulled out a hair from it, and said with great confidence, "This is the skin of a soul." The king shook his head and said, "Wrong answer." The princess breathed a sigh of relief. The second man came an educated and very smart-looking man. He did not answer immediately, but took out a small pair of good spectacles from his pocket and started looking at the skin carefully. After looking for a long time, he said hesitantly maybe this, but the king interrupted and said no. The princess breathed a sigh of relief again. Now the prince of the neighboring country came third. Not only was he very handsome, but his mannerisms also reflected royal style. The princess fell in love with him. She thought, "I wish he gives the right answer." She tried to know the correct answer from her father so that she could tell the prince secretly. But the king was honest, he refused outright. After thinking for a while, the prince said, "This is the skin of a giant water creature." The princess looked at her father with hopeful eyes, but the king said no. The princess's heart broke. Such a handsome young man, yet the answer was wrong. But the story did not end here. Suddenly a strange man came to the palace. He looked like he lived in the forest, ugly, dirty, and untidy. The soldiers tried to stop him, but the king said, "I had called the whole country, anyone can participate in this competition," and he let the man in. Little did anyone know that this wild man who grew up in the mountains was an expert in recognizing animals. He just sniffed the skin and said, "This is the skin of a flea." The king's face hardened because the answer was absolutely correct. But now the question was, where did such a big flea come from? Actually, a few months ago, at a court concert, when the princess was playing the harp, a flea jumped out of the king's sleeve. The king liked the flea so much that he left his daughter's concert incomplete and went straight to the palace and started raising it. Every day, the king would prick his finger with a needle, extract a little blood, and feed it to the flea. In a few days, the flea grew as big as a grain. But little did the king know that one day, that very flea would decide the fate of his daughter's marriage.